Good morning, all my chicken people. That's right, it's auction day. So I saved you the hassle of watching us catch birds, kind of in a hurry. We usually catch them the night before, but since we weren't taking a big load, and I don't think it's going to be a crazy big auction, we decided just to catch in the morning. Plus I sat in the deer stand this morning, tried to see if I could get a crack at a coyote, and didn't see any. But like I said in the previous video, we got 20 of these red hens we just got, and then I got some sex link roosters which look like barred rocks, but that would be the male black sex link, and then 67 Coturnix quail straight runs. They were the outside ones, and I'm kind of cutting down my numbers before winter here. And then 10 straw bales. So not a huge load today, but we don't have a ton to get rid of because the dang coyotes ate half of them. But I don't know, you never know what we're gonna find at the auction to buy, but that's what we're doing today. So I guess I didn't introduce myself. I'm Luke, welcome to 5 Acre Farm. So let's head to the auction. Laying eggs. We got everything dropped off at the auction this morning, and we came back to the house to get chores done, let the dogs out. We're gonna head back over there here in about an hour. So it's a short trip home, get chores done, and we need to move some birds around because these guys and the brooder are getting way too big. We got a busy weekend ahead of us, so we thought we would just check things out. So what do we got in the crate?
We have our Coronation Sussex
From
Paragon Ridge Ranch. They came and visited us and brought us some hatching eggs. We hatched, I don't remember how many of these we have, about 10 or so. So they're pretty good size. And then the other thing we have in here are the Easter eggers that I bought at the auction last month. So they're gray and black, and they got poofy cheeks, and so they're just getting big and need to get out. So we're gonna put them in here with the rest of their friends.
So this is our little the old chicken coop. You guys seen us put the sex links in here. We've already moved the sex links out into the big pen, but now we got it. There's still about, I don't know, 20 chickens in there right now.
Yeah,
but we're going to go ahead and put all these guys in there so they have a roof over their head for the next couple weeks while they're getting acclimated to outside. So we're going to kind of take you along with some chores here, but this is our Silkie pen. We got Wilbur over there keeping an eye on us, our boar. But this is the our OG chicken coop here, and then you see our little Temu chicken coop we did a review on. We actually put in some broody Silkies in there, and they hatched out chicks. And let me see if I can't see them. We got little chicks everywhere.
Everywhere. 12 of them.
12 little baby Silkie chicks. So they're just like, running all over the place. And this is our biggest problem right now, as they get out of the fence and do their thing. But stay tuned, because in one of the next couple videos we have big plans for these Silkies. So they're gonna get a coop makeover. So upgrade.
They're going bougie.
Yeah, big time. So that's what we're gonna work on this weekend or tomorrow. I don't know when you guys will see it, but here in the next couple videos probably. But it'll be fun. But that's the Silkie update. And now I have 10 baby Silkies running around. And Silkies make pretty good mothers. So usually if they hatch them, you usually have about a little over 50% make it to full size. So.
Somebody ate my pumpkin.
What? A little pumpkin? I'm gonna give it to the Silkies. They'll eat it.
I think a squirrel got it.
Dang
Oops.
squirrels. So we got to feed the rest of the pigs. The big chicken yard is pretty boring because we've moved most of the chickens over into the big pen, trying to deal with our coyote problem. So yeah, but we're gonna run out. We're gonna feed everybody here. We'll run out and check on the red hens we got, collect eggs, show you how many eggs we now have to deal with every day. And then we gotta go deliver some eggs to a customer of ours and then get on the road back to the auction. We're out here with the red hens and the guard gooses. And since all these new hens haven't nested in our eggmobile yet, their eggs are everywhere. So
Easter egg hunt.
it is now an Easter egg hunt, usually by the feeder. You get a little bite to eat, poop out an egg. So I have a feeling we're gonna have to, luckily I mowed this prior to bringing 200 more hens so we can find the eggs. But they're scattered everywhere. But so far we haven't lost any of the new hens. A lot of them are hanging out under the eggmobile trying to get some shade. But we'll go in and check the nesting box, see if any of them laid in there. How many eggs do we have? Oh, a good little pile of them.
Ow! That's not
Got
nice.
one that's feisty, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, we're getting a pretty full basket in here. Hen gear nesting box. We still have a bunch on the ground to pick up. But that's definitely more than we had yesterday, so at least some of them are using the nesting box.
They're still warm.
It'll take a little while for all the hens to figure it out because they're used to where they've been laying for the last 10 months, and this isn't it. So we'll get them trained. Did you count how many?
No, but we have this many.
Yeah, that many. But we should have, I mean, that's roughly 100. And so, like I said, you're not going to get an egg a day, especially right after you move chickens from their home. The stress causes them to stop laying. But 100 eggs out of roughly 250 to 280 hens, not terrible. Like I said, some of these girls are going through molt, so that'll shut them down laying. And obviously the stress, that number is going to go up every single day until they all start going through their molt. And then it'll come back down, and then it'll pick back up right during hunting season when we need them the most. So, have anything to say?
Nope. This basket's heavy.
All right, back to the auction. Buttercups.
Yeah, buttercups. They don't lay a very big egg.
We're going to get down here to around 9 o'clock or shortly after. hay with the hay in the national cages. Most of the cages are broken in. It says NC. The cage is not with the birds. There's another cell cage, right after the birds. Shredded miners, trying to get great people, and then you are right there, pretty red, then you are right there, then you are right there, little bit not more, we're from red, then you are right there. If they're not down, you'll be down high, down kid, down, take good, down, kid, so I go. That's your number 30. 6, down, 7. Let's sit down, 8, down, 0, down, 8, down, 7, 8 down, 7, 8, 7, 8. So 7, 8, 7, number 47. Can you see half of that? 50 cents. 50 cents. The next good. All right. Capital returns bill. So much space you take 6 or more. 6 or more. You don't make it up there. You don't give it. You don't make what. You don't put it. But you don't put it. You don't put it on that. But you don't put it. 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 You don't
All of them.
Six. All right, go get that. Put it on 5. Put it on 5. 50. 50 down. Put it on 50. Put it on 50. 50 down 5. 50 down 60. 50 down 5.
Good morning, everybody. It's the next day. We made it back from the auction. It was after dark last night, so we didn't film much when we got back. But it's bright and early. We left the chickens in the cages, so we didn't throw them into pens they weren't familiar with in the dark. Anyway, we did buy some birds, which we don't need any, but we bought some anyway. And I guess we'll show them to you. We took the stock trailer thinking there might be a baby cow or two, because they went pretty cheap last time and they didn't have any baby cows. So we loaded it up with chickens. Just kidding, we didn't buy that many chickens. We did buy, I didn't say I bought some. Caitlin bought some mums. So we now have a bunch of mums, which we only paid $2 to $4 for a piece. So not too mad about that. So we the couple chickens we did buy, we bought some Rhode Island red roosters, because you can never have too many Rhode Island red roosters. Oh, you're so dramatic. We bought 3 Rhode Island red roosters. They all look pretty good. And I'll tell you how much we paid for stuff here after a bit. But you never have too many Rhode Island red roosters when you have a sex link breeding program. So I have a bunch of barred rock hens, put Rhode Island red roosters over to make a black sex link. And then we got a screaming deal on some Americanas that are close to laying. Calm down. So dramatic. There's your little poofy cheeks. Boop, 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 boop. So we got 7 of the Americanas, but I sold 2 of them before I even left the auction. But prices yesterday were kind of all over the place. So usually in the summer, fall, everything sells for cheap because nobody wants them going into the winter. Everybody wants eggs, but they don't want to feed something through winter if it's not going to lay. Anyway, so, well, I guess I'll tell you what we paid for what we bought. We didn't buy very much. Probably the least amount of money I've spent at the auction in a long time. Alright, I gotta figure out how to read my tickets. So I bought the 3 roosters at $6 a piece, which right now the rooster market's pretty high, because I don't know, the Orientals and people from other countries that come to these auctions buy up roosters really based off their weight because they're going to eat them. And so a lot of times the roosters will bring just as much as hens, and if they're all just going to get consumed, those that are eating their chickens want chickens that weigh more. So there was a lot of roosters yesterday that brought, you know, that $7 to $15 a rooster, which is pretty good for a rooster. There was a day when you couldn't give them away for $3 or $4. So $6, they're worth $6 to me because I'm going to use them for breeding. The Americana pullets. So there was an individual, I don't know who it was, that brought Americana pullets, Turkins, and one others. They were all pullets. So they probably bought a bunch in the spring, kept what they wanted, and then took whatever they didn't want or didn't need to the auction. It's hard to make money on a started pullet selling them in the fall. So a lot of people will buy them in the spring, a bunch of chicks, and whatever they don't need, obviously they'll sell them in the fall. Well, nobody wants to take them through the winter, so they sell them off at the auction and really don't get what they're worth out of them. Now the Turkins and the other breed, I think brought more than what these Americanas did, which is crazy.
They were lavenders, maybe.
Maybe lavender Orpingtons or something. I mean, they brought $15 to $20 a pullet, which is a lot better than they have been bringing in the last several months. There were some Isa Brown pullets that brought some in that $20 range. A lot of decent looking pullets that were hatched this spring that would have put them in like that 4, 5, 6 month time frame that brought $15 to $25 a piece. So it's good to see that market was still high, but I would not bank on that being the price next month, and it definitely wasn't the price last month. So I still think a good 6-month-old pullet is still worth $30, $25 to $40, no matter what the breed is. Depending on the breed, really, I guess it could go way up from there. But I bought 7, make sure I got that number right, 7 Americana pullets, and they look to be about 5 months old, so they should be laying in the next couple weeks for $12 a piece. So that's an absolute bargain, because if you were to buy a pullet, Americana pullet, I guess you could call these Easter eggers, even though they're going to lay blue eggs. True Americanas only come in like black, splash, ermine, lavender, which is what we raise, wheaten, blue, so on and so forth. These are all like multicolored Americanas with an I. True Americanas with a U are guaranteed blue eggs. These Americanas, which are pretty much what most people want to call Easter eggers, even though they lay a blue egg. Easter eggers, if you buy specific Easter eggers from a hatchery, they could lay blue, green, tan, white, any color of egg. So just because you buy an Easter egger doesn't guarantee a blue egg. Anyway, $12 for these Easter egg Americanas. As long as they lay a blue egg, we will put a French Black Copper Moran over them as a breeder, and that chick will be an olive egger, which will be a light green layer. So really good deal on the pullets. And like I said, there was a lot of other pullets that brought $5 to $25 depending on breed and age. I kicked myself in the butt for not buying a quad, which was 3 hens and a rooster of Rhode Island Reds, because I could have used the rooster. They were probably 4 months old, and they brought $4 a piece, and I should have just bought them. Anyway, the only other things we bought were the mums. Caitlin bought 9 of them at $2 a piece, and 6 of them at $4 a piece. So there was a ton of flowers there, and they brought anywhere from that $2 to $12 depending on size and color. But there wasn't a whole lot of stuff, like outside stuff, that I needed to buy or wanted. There were some cool birds there. Laying hens. I guess I can tell you what my stuff brought before I get into what the majority of the stuff brought. So we took 20 of those red hens, and 5 of them brought $6, 10 of them brought $7, and another 5 of them brought $7. The 3 sex link roosters I brought, which look like barred rocks, they couldn't give them suckers away. They sold for 50 cents a piece. So I made $2 on those 4 chickens, which I probably could have kept them until the fall or the spring, and maybe got $4 or $5 out of them. But feeding them through the winter, it is what it is. We just didn't have room last time we took them, was when I got like $4 or $5 a piece for them. I just didn't have room in cages to take them. So we took 66 Coturnix quail, and they did better because this month I took straight run switches. I didn't sex them, so half of them essentially were females and half of them were males. Half of them being females and half of them being males. More people wanted those because they lay eggs, or at least have potential to lay eggs. The last couple months I've been taking just males, and anybody that knows quail can figure that out pretty quick. So, but I wrote on the label straight run, and I didn't sex them to where there was 3 males and 3 females per cage, or 5 males or 5 females and 1 male. I just grabbed them and threw them. So they brought more money because there were females in the cages. Laying eggs in the cages. So that helped. 6 of them, or 12 of them, brought $3.25 a piece, and 18 of them brought $3 a piece, and the last 12 bought $3.25 a piece. So around that $3.25 a piece for the quail, which at that auction this time of year, pretty decent. Sometimes in the spring they'll get up to $5 or $6. At other auctions they'll get up to $9 a piece, which I probably need to go to that auction more, but it's 3 times as far away. So when you factor in gas, and that auction you have to make cages for, and the cages go with the bird. This auction we can bring our cages home, so it doesn't. When I go to those big auctions that you have to sell the cage, I'll spend a whole day making cages. So if you factor in your time building cages and the expenses into building cages, it comes out to being almost the same amount I make at this auction where I don't have to sell cages. Anyway, so the prices of other things, laying hens, like I said, brought anywhere from that $7 to $15 range, which I felt like was not bad. Obviously there were some breeds that brought $25 to $30. Those higher end breeds, which should have brought $50 or $60 or even $80 to $90 in the spring, only brought $30. Guineas were still in that $7 to $15 range. I didn't see what turkeys sold for. I saw some geese that were selling in that $25 to $45 range. They had some Sebastopools there, but they weren't purebred. They didn't quite have the ruffled feathers like they should have, and they brought $60 some a piece. Goats were bringing 25 to 200 depending. Ducks were in that 5 to 30 depending if they're hens or drakes. Some yellow goldens, red goldens, they were in that $40 to $50 range. Snowflake bob whites were anywhere from 15 to 25. Trying to think, anything else? They had a pair of ferrets there. I didn't see what they brought, but they had a lot of pigeons, and pigeons brought decent money. There's a lot of people that collect pigeons and breed them. I'm not into the fancy pigeons, but they were bringing, a lot of them were bringing over $10 a piece, even kind of what we call loft pigeons, which are kind of boring homers, essentially, in that $9 to $15 range. Some of the higher end pigeons brought $10 to $20 a piece. So pigeons aren't really a market I need to get into, because I don't want to get into, even though I guess the money's pretty decent. You don't have to incubate them, you don't have to feed them. I mean, you don't have to like brood them. The mothers do all the work, but the downside with pigeons is they lay 2 eggs, they sit on them, they hatch them, they grow them out, and they sit on 2 eggs. It's just, I can make a lot more chickens with my setup than I can pigeons. Anyway, but I think that's it for the auction video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to just give a huge thank you to everybody at the auction, or everybody that sees me in public, or Caitlin, and comes up and says hi. I love talking to you guys. I love meeting all you guys. So if you do see me at an auction somewhere or wherever and you recognize me, come say hi. I love talking to you guys. But I didn't film a ton in the auction because it's an Amish ran auction, and I don't want to be the guy pointing the camera or showing people's faces that don't want to be on the internet. So I hope you guys understand that and appreciate that, even though I know a lot of you guys want to see more at the auction, but for the privacy of the individuals that own the auction facility, I try not to be the person filming people's faces that don't want to be filmed. So anyway, we have a big surprise for you coming up, maybe next video. Yeah, so we have several good videos lined up for you guys, and you know the deal. We love you guys. Don't haggle with your egg supplier. Buy your chicks local. We'll see you guys on the next one.